They said they wanted freedom. They said they were tired of SBMM. Then they got it and ran. Meanwhile, same lot crying over AI voices are queuing up for games made in GPU graveyards, while Steam's about to drop a console killer and memory prices scream for mercy. This isn't just a gaming news week. It's a public service announcement for liars, flakes, and corporate cowards. Let's crack this pig wide open. Alright, you lot. It's your favourite Yorkshire Wild run back at it. Welcome to Hey Scotty, only gaming podcast where truth shows up drunk, kicks during, and still makes more sense than Ubisoft's roadmap. This week, we're talking AI hypocrisy, memory shortages, console denial, and why FPS scene is choking on its own contradictions. Got fire starter questions from Ages444, Jack Left Hand, Fixer2616, Pyro Friendly Arsonist, Kuroma Kira, and more. COD's in Meltdown, Steam sneaking up behind Xbox with a crowbar, and horror games are whispering in your hallway. And yeah, there's also a new Terminator game, and I'm way too excited for something that looks like Contra in sunglasses. Mike's hot, games are broken. Let's get into it. To kick us off, Ages444 asks, I've been hearing a lot of usage of AI and ethical issues and morals in games, and it's really been bugging me for the past few days. Difference between usage of AI between COD and Arc Raiders is vast and incomparably different when viewing both at games and companies. Arc Raiders don't fuck over the VAs and they're aware of everything. And as far as I know, or heard, they pay VAs for the work and bring them back for cutscenes or other story-related things. While in COD's case, they use AI to cheap out on artists, they used other VAs' voices without their permission, yet Eurogamer and other journalists fault and bitch about Arc's usage of AI while turning a blind eye to COD's dirty tactics. I could go on, but I don't want you to read a wave of words and criticisms. I realise this into question, but it's been on my mind and I needed to lay it out there. Apologies for taking up space, and if this don't make cut, I understand completely. I don't expect this to be next episode, but I needed to let out some steam. Thanks for reading if you made it this far. Right, let's talk about this AI in gaming. And let's start with two names, Arc Raiders and Call of Duty. One's a game, other's a multi-billion-dollar content treadmill that's been flogging sane corpse since Bush administration. And yet somehow it's smaller dev, Arc Raiders, getting shit flung at them by press. Why? Because they used AI. Ethically. Yeah, ethically. That word don't mean much these days, especially to game media licking boots for early access. But in this case, it means they didn't clone voices without permission. They did pay their actors. And they are bringing those actors back when story work's needed. Imagine that. Actual contracts, actual respect, actual talent. Meanwhile, Activision's out here speedrunning voice theft. No memo, no signature, just an AI model that sounds like a VA who never agreed to it. And kicker? It's not even subtle. We've had reports of reused, tweaked, new lines that sound suspiciously like legacy VAs who weren't called, weren't paid, and weren't even told. And where's Eurogamer in all of this? IGN, Kotaku. They're too busy playing moral watchdog on Arc Raiders. Acting like an indie using AI tools with consent is somehow greater evil. It's like slagging off a chef for using a microwave while ignoring rat-infested kitchen down road cooking knockoff McRibs with human hair. Why? Because Call of Duty buys ad space. That's it. That's play. You can't swing a dead rose skin without hitting a sponsored video, so big names get a free pass while a studio trying to actually do AI rate gets dogpiled. This is what happens when gaming media gets high on its own outrage but forgets to look in mirror. If you're going to scream about ethics, at least scream it right direction. Arc Raiders might be using AI, sure, but they're doing it with permission, paychecks, and actual effort. COD's using it like a get-out-of-jail-free card stapled to a redundancy slip. So don't give me this AI's problem guff. Problem ain't AI, problem is who's holding leash. Arc's trying to build tools. Activision's using them like a fiver to skip queue at Slaughterhouse. And if you're a games journo cosplaying as a crusader, maybe start by crucifying billion-dollar thief, not bloke building his game with glue, duct tape and dignity. Here's bit that burns hottest. Voice acting side of all this. Because this isn't some abstract AI theory list. This is theft, voice, identity, craft, ripped off and deepfaked by billionaires with deadline. Let's be crystal clear. AI voices can be brilliant. With actors' permission, with payment, with control and transparency. Want to do pickups when your VA's in rehab, on holiday, or just done with your bullshit script? Clone the voice. if they say yes, if check clears, and if they get to say no next time. That's how Ark Raiders is playing it. Real actors, real pay, real consent. They're not using AI to sideline people, they're using it to extend them, build around them, bridge gap between sessions. They're not replacing artists, they're amplifying them. COD? All different circus. Here they're using AI like a photocopier in a bank heist. Grab voice, run it through a filter, spit out new lines. Don't call actor, don't pay actor, don't even admit it happening unless they get caught red-handed. This isn't tech disruption, this is exploitation with a neural net. These are the same people who lock VAs into bullshit NDAs, lowball the contracts, and expect eternal silence while they remaster the voice into 10 new games. AI just makes grift cheaper. And what does industry do? What do games media do? They turn AI into villains so villains in suits can skate. No, AI ain't evil. Stealing we AI is. Devaluing craft we AI is. Tool didn't betray anyone. Hans Holding it did. Here's the thing. Voice acting isn't just talking into a mic. It's art, timing, delivery, breath control, emotional resonance. You can't just feed lines into a blender and expect Shakespeare. These actors bleed for their roles. They build character. You can't AI your way to soul. And of course some suit says, but what about legacy? Bullshit. You want legacy? Pay for it. Honour it. Preserve it by bringing those VAs back, even if it's digitally. You don't get to own someone's voice because you paid them once in 2014. If this were any other industry, you'd have a riot. Imagine Hollywood cloning Robin Williams for a Disney sequel he never agreed to. Oh wait, they tried. His will specifically banned it. That's how serious this is. Dead actors are now writing contracts from beyond grave to stop this exact fuckery. So yeah, you can use AI, but you better do it right. You better do it with respect. Because once you start turning human voices into assets to be mined, you've stopped making games and started printing war crimes. Now let's stop pissing around sacrifice and dive into deep end. Because this isn't just about games. This is about entire fucking economy and people trying to ride AI like it's a free pass to screw everyone and call it progress. You might have seen Jez Corden's tweet. Bleak little gem goes something like this. AI fails, economy explodes, AI succeeds, jobs explode. Where's win? That's doom loop everyone's chewing on. And fair play, it feels true. But here's what I said back to him, and I'll say it again, louder. There is a third option. AI works, society adapts. We change tax and welfare game. We stop pretending productivity gains should only feed shareholders and start using them to build a better fucking deal for restaurants. Shorter work weeks, stronger safety nets, cheaper basics. Keep people in jobs, we AI as a tool to boost output, not as a scythe to cut heads. But what are corpos doing instead? They're replacing staff before they even know how to use AI properly. Coders sacked. QA gutted, writers nuked, VA contracts slashed, and guess what? Games are getting worse. Bugs up, writing down, player trust on live sport. Because they don't get it. AI is a tool, not a replacement. It's not fire humans, profit rises. It's get humans better gear, watch them fly. I'm building a game myself. I use AI. Know what it does? Saves me time on boilerplate, repetitive crap. But I still review every damn line. Because AI is not magic. It's a fast idiot. A sharp hammer. If you use it right, it builds empires. If you use it wrong, it burns down your bloody roof. Same with voice. Same with art. Same with code. Win condition here ain't replacing people, it's empowering them. But it's not sexy to investors. It's not cheap enough for spreadsheet psychopaths. So they spin it. Efficiency. Innovation. But all it is, abandonment. And this is real fear people have. Not that AI will get too good, but that it'll get just good enough for boardroom to say, good enough, and stop paying actual humans to finish job rate. That's path we're on. A world of good enough, broken dialogue, shitty filler quest, copy-pasted faces, half-baked code and recycled mechanics, all justified by some smirking tech bro who's never made a game in his life but owns 10 Lambos and a LinkedIn quote about synergy. But it don't have to be that way. If we treat AI as a scalpel, not a cleaver, there's real power here. Better dev cycles, more creativity, more accessibility, more reach. But only if we wield it with humans, not instead of them. So to devs, don't sack your artists, give them AI brushes. Don't ditch your writers, give them AI co-writers. Don't deepfake your VAs, give them AI voice dubs for lines they approve. And to gamers, demand better. Don't accept AI slop. Don't swallow excuses. Don't let billion-dollar studios use AI as a mask to hide blood on their hands. AI's not villain, greed is, and final boss is in suit, not a server rack. Thanks, Ages, for question. That leads into another subject to AI. Jack Left Time 427 asks, thoughts on this memory shortage? I haven't figured out how AI causes there to be a shortage or a device that manufacturers can just make more of. Buckle in, mate, because this one's got more layers than a GPU heatsink in July. Let's clear one thing up right out at gate. There is a memory shortage. Not forgot keys kind that makes hardware costs climb like a rat up a drainpipe. DRAM, HBM. Silicon crack cocaine at AI boom. Guess who's hoovering it all up? Not you, not me, not gamers. It's tech titans in corporate penthouse. Nvidia, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, Google, all mainlining memory like it's a bloody apocalypse. This ain't just gaming anymore. It's not, oh, we need more RAM for ray tracing and fast load times. Nah, this is server farms size of football stadiums stuffed with thousands of GPUs, each one glued to stacks of high bandwidth memory like it owes them rent. Why? Because training modern AI models is like teaching a whale to sing opera. It takes insane resources, and it takes them for months. Every one of these AI supermodels, Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, your mum's air fryer, they're chewing through memory like popcorn at a Michael Bay marathon. Entire data centers getting locked up for a single run. And it's not just training, it's running them too. Inference at scale. Same memory drain, different day. So what happens when you've got billion-dollar companies buying memory by metric fuck ton? You and me get shafted. Prices go up. Stock dries up. Your next gaming rig gets delayed. That fancy DDR5 kit you were eyeing now costs double cause Zuckerberg wants his chatbot to blink faster. And this shit's only going to get worse before it gets better, because these companies aren't slowing down. Every one of them wants to be AI kingpin. They're in a silicon arms race, and frontline is your RAM shelf. You want next-gen console? Yeah, good luck. Xbox's next box is already rumoured to be packing AI co-pilots. Console PC hybrid AI-infused cloud-enhanced bollocks. Sounds good on paper, till Sony can't source enough HBM for PS6 cause Microsoft already cleared shelves. And don't even get me started on scummy side. AI snake oil is everywhere. Shady tools popping up left and right. Advanced coding assistant. Next-gen art AI. Smart girlfriend chatbot for terminally lonely. Most of it's just bootleg wrappers on open source crap, charging premium coin for stuff you could build yourself with a few Python scripts and a dodgy Reddit post. So yeah, memory shortage? It's real. It's brutal. And it's caused by the same corporate herd who've been cutting staff while racking up AI bills so steep they could ski down them. They're building AI like it's second coming, but someone forgot to check if memory mines could keep up. And when you flood market with models and half of them are trained on bullshit, what you get is noise, not progress. Just noise. 1,000 models screaming, pick me! While restaurants sit there wondering why our RAM costs more than a bloody mortgage payment. So Jack, you're spot on. They could make more memory, but they didn't plan to, cause planning don't sell hype. Scarcity drives demand. And in Gold Rush, nobody's thinking about next winter. They're too busy selling shovels made of silicon. Now then, I know I'm going to get flack for AI defense, but I want your thoughts, folks. What are your opinions on AI use in video games? Or indeed any industry? Do you agree with me that it should be a tool to make job easier rather than a replacement, as corporate suits seem to be doing? Drop us a comment. Let discussions commence. Right, my lad begged me to read this, and so here it is from Kuroma Kira. Why am I such a twonk? Twonk, kiddo? You? Nah, you're not a twonk, but I'll show you who is. Let's start with COD community, loudest, whiniest flip-flop brigade on internet. Ones who screamed for years. They wanted no SBMM and grounded cosmetics. Said they missed old days. Wanted boots on ground. Wanted realism. Wanted COD to feel like war again, not a TikTok fever dream and tactical crocs. They made entire careers bitching about these things. And then devs actually did it. Treyarch stripped out rave gear, said goodbye to anime thongs and bubblegum rifles, and guess what Twonks did? They fucking cried. This is boring. Where's me glowing dark dolphin skin? Mate, you got exactly what you asked for. And now you're acting like someone pissed in your cereal because you can't play a wine game dressed as a vape advert. And it gets worse. SBMM saga. Oh, Lord. Remove SBMM. Let us breathe. We want chaos. So they gave it to you. Open versus standard matchmaking. 2 doers. 1 chaos, 1 curated. What did you do? You ran back into standard like it were your mother's arms during a thunderstorm. Same playlist you claim what root to all evil is now your safety blanket cause Open dared to put you up against a guy with thumbs and half-decent connection. You weren't lied to. You weren't cheated. You were exposed. You don't hate SBMM. You hate losing. You don't want grounded skins. You want drip that flatters your cool cap. You're not purists. You're dopamine junkies dressed as critics. You shout for immersion, then cry when Black Ops 7 turns off disco lights. You rage about algorithmic matchmaking, then panic queue standard after 2 bad matches in Open like a PTSD-riddled toddler in a foam pit. And you know what this does? It empowers suits. You think Activision's scared of your Reddit rage threads? Nah, mate. They're laughing into the quarterly reports. Cause now they get to point at your behaviour and say, see? Community prefers SBMM. They prefer curated cosmetics. Look at numbers. You gave them permission. And let's be real. This isn't about gameplay. It's not about balance. It's about control. You want a system that makes you feel good even when you're dog shit. You want chaos, but only when you're winning. You want immersion, but only if it comes with neon stripes and gun charms shaped like anime tits. This ain't COD 2009 nostalgia. This is a fashion show with frag grenades. You've become everything you claim to hate. And let's not pretend influencers are any better. They've built entire channels on calling SBMM oppressive, but they're first to crawl back into standard when Open gets spicy. They made performance art out of matchmaking paranoia, and now, truth's art, they were never prisoners. Just cowards with a brand. And now I'm hearing some of these muppets point at Modern Warfare 2 2009, which, let's be clear, is running on live support, and going, see, Black Ops 7 must have SBMM, cause I can still get a match faster in MW2 2009 and that has far less players. Yeah, know why that is genius? Cause MW2 2009 uses peer-to-peer, not server-based matchmaking. That's not algorithm holding your hand. That's you getting yeeted into random host's living room in arse end of nowhere, where he's still running Windows Vista and screaming at his mum for pizza rolls. Black Ops 7 ain't hiding SBMM. It's using a different system entirely. And you can hate that system. Fine. But don't start inventing fake comparisons cause you can't handle reality that maybe, just maybe, you're not as good as you thought you were without a crutch. So yeah, Kuroma Kira, you're not a twonk. You asked questions. You listened. You're thinking. But this community, this player base, one who's begged for grounded COD then cried cause it stopped looking like Fortnite's meth cousin, twonked here. God mode. Platinum rank. You don't get to be taken seriously when your biggest trauma is like a banana suit with dual-wielded marshmallow launchers. Grow fuck up. Thanks for prompt, kiddo. Absolute banger. Alright, freeloading legends. It's that time again. Let's talk free games. Amazon Luna and Epic Games are throwing out digital crack like it's payday at meth clinic. So here's what you gain for absolutely fuck all this week. First up, Amazon Luna. Lego 2K Drive via Epic. This one's like Mario Kart on creatine. Bricklandia is your playground, and game throws everything at you. Racetracks, off-road chaos, watery death traps, and your car turns into a transformer mid-drift like it's trying to break up with physics. It's stupid, fun, plastic nostalgia, and kinda brainless adrenaline buzz that'll have you screaming at corners while building a flaming taco truck with jet engines. Not bad for price for a fart. Guilt on Luna app. This one's for spooky crowd. A melancholy stealth horror wrapped in childhood trauma. Think Coraline if she had to dodge PTSD demons and anxiety shadows. Creepy? Yeah. Deep? Sorta. Worth it? Definitely. Especially if you like your indie horror with actual atmosphere instead of just jump scare spam. Dungeons and Dragons Forgotten Realms Archives via God Code. This is Boomer Core. Old school eye beholder pixel D&D for dungeon crawling purists. First person real-time RPGs that run up bones or advanced D&D 2nd edition. If you've ever rolled dice with a character sheet older than your microwave, this'll hit your rated nostalgia gland. And if you ain't, suck it up and learn something. This is where RPGs got the teeth. Now on to Epic Games Store. Darkside Detective. Point and click meets pixel pulp fiction. You're a trenchcoat wearing sarcasm machine solving supernatural bollocks in Twin Lakes. Dumbest town on earth. Think X-Files written by people who drink Red Bull for breakfast and fear sunlight. Witty, weird, bite-sized, perfect palate cleanser for when AAA gets too triple shite. Jackbox Party 4. You know drill. 5 party games plus a weird half game cause someone in accounting got cocky. Perfect for when you've got friends over and need to remind them who real arsehole in group is. Great for streamers, piss-ups, and finding out which mate is secretly a sociopath. That's 6 free bangers, ranging from Lego chaos to Eldritch bullshit to dungeon walls with more lore than modern COD maps. No excuses, go claim them, play them, and maybe say thank you by not moaning about microtransactions for 5 minutes. Yeah? Right, only game worth your time next week, and it's not another buggy alpha, not some early access scam with NFTs in water. It's a pixel bleeding love letter to 90s carnage. Terminator 2D No Fate drops December 12th, and I swear down, this looks like first time a Terminator game might actually understand assignment since bloody Mega Drive. It's a side-scrolling, retro-styled, arcade-fueled, face-punching, bullet-slinging throwback built with actual love, not just licensing contracts. You get classic scenes from Judgment Day, but mixed with new paths, fresh boss fights, and a no fate mode that changes up how story unfolds depending on who you play and what choices you make. And yeah, you play as Sarah Connor, John Connor, and T-800. That's right, one-man apocalypse with one-liner and a shotgun. And no, you're not stuck in one playstyle either. This thing's got variety. Run and gun, beat-em-up brawls, stealth sections, full chase scenes. You're going from side-scroller to panic mode faster than Kyle Reese getting PTSD in a nightclub. Visually, it's pure arcade crack. Pixel art so sharp it'll slice your retinas. Soundtrack synth to hell. And best part? Stop trying to reinvent gaming, just wants to feel good. Fast, tight, responsive, where 2D action games used to be, before every dev decided jump needed to be motion captured by a ballet dancer on ketamine. Now look, this into AAA behemoth. There's no 4K ray-traced leather jackets or 60-minute cinematics with mopey robots having feelings, but it is a game that remembers why we fell in love with this shit in first place. It's loud, it's fast, it's unapologetically gamey. So if you grew up pouring coins in cabinets, or you're just sick at live service sludge, keep your eyes on this one. Terminator 2D No Fate might not be a blockbuster, but it looks like it's here to remind you that sometimes all a game needs to do is it. Right then, Connor Phelan 9825 asks, "Hey Scotty, what's your thoughts on current state of FPS genre? I play console and it just ain't scratching that itch that's been there since Medal of Honor on PS1. Alright, let's get brutally honest. FPS genre ain't dead. It's just split down middle like a forehead in Glasgow nightclub. On one side, you got corporate sweatbox, COD, Battlefield, Apex. Games built in boardrooms and maintained by spreadsheet goblins with marketing degrees. On other, you got indie resurrection. Lean, brutal, no-frill shooters that actually gear shit about feel. But you said console, and mate, yeah, I feel your pain. Cause that itch, that and left by Medal of Honor on PS1, that's biter an era that's gone. Not nostalgia, tone. That crisp, grounded, boots on fucking ground focus. Not neon spasms and anime bundles. Not 3-second time to kill with Fortnite skin doing Macarena. You want actual wow, not a fashion show with headshots. Problem is, most of the games scratching that itch today are on PC. That's our truth. Stuff like Ready or Not, BattleBit Remastered, Tactical Assault VR. They're out there, but they're not on your console, and probably never will be. Sony and Microsoft don't want niche. They want mass appeal, broad strokes, monetized engagement loops. Now, to throw a grenade at AAA side at Trench, EA, where's Titanfall 3? Where's a proper Medal of Honor? You've got a vault full of FPS classics and you're out here making F1 career mods and rebooting skateboarding. Get a grip. There's a generation out here starved for that middle ground FPS. Not sci-fi twitch spam, not mill sim spreadsheet sims. Just fun focused hard-hitting shooters with actual tone. And PlayStation, hey, you asleep? Bring back SOCOM. If you can't build Call of Duty outright, then build your own goddamn shooter. There's a whole player base out here crying out for return of tactical console shooters. You want loyalty? That's where it lives. Not in your cloud gaming division, not in your half-baked live services. Now back to us, players. Here's real rub. Both sides that shoot a crowd are screaming into the void. One side wants grounded realism, low SBMM, actual challenge. Other wants pink rifles, anime finishers and algorithm babysitting so you don't have to lose a 1v1. Suits think they need to please both. They don't realise a game for everyone is a game for no one. That's how we got COD looking like a pride parade on bath salts. That's how we got Battlefield doing yoga trying to be competitive and cinematic at the same time. That's how we got Halo turned into live service support group with a gun budget. We don't need another Frankenstein shooter. We need vision, focus, taste, even if that means losing half at crowd. Half that were never really there for game, just grind. So yeah, Connor, you're not wrong. FPS itch still lingers, but good stuff. It's either buried on PC or stuck in IP limbo. Consoles aren't feeding you, they're monetizing your appetite. Time to either adapt or get loud enough that they have to bring real shooters back. Cheers, Connor. But this next one might interest you. T-Pose663 asks, what's your thoughts on Steam Machine? Right, let's talk Steam Machine. Not all gimmick box from a decade ago. I'm talking about new beast Valve's cooking up. Proper one that might just blow console gaming's bollocks clean off. It's set up. You're hearing $700. Yeah? Sounds steep at first until you actually do maths. Cause if you're on Xbox or PlayStation, you've already blown that by year one. $500 console, another $120 a year for Game Pass or PS Plus. Already you're at Steam Machine money and still paying rent on your own fucking games. Now flip it. You pay once for Steam Machine. Done. Then, Steam sales, Humble Bundles, GOG throwaways, Epic's guilt freebies. PC players are out here building full libraries for the price of a console launch title. You're sat on your couch with your shiny PS5 paying 70 quid for a reskinned PS4 game with microtransactions, while I'm getting 20 indies, 5 shooters, and a modded Skyrim that now runs like it's directed by Quentin Tarantino. And let's talk power. You're not getting Steam Deck guts, you're getting something serious. Valve's lining this up to actually compete with consoles, not just supplement them. That means modern performance, custom OS, plug-and-play controller support, but none at corporate leash holding. No forced subscriptions, no region locks, no fake backwards compatibility, no cloud-only titles 5 years from now when Sony and Xbox decide you don't get to own your discs anymore. You want access to actual games from any era, mod support, and full storefront freedom? That's PC gaming. And Valve's offering to put it in a living room wrapper. It's not a console, it's a jailbreak in a box. Now yeah, maybe it's more than $700. We don't know yet, but logic still stands. Front load cost, skip rent. If you've got budget and even a fraction or an itch to step beyond console ecosystem, this is your fucking golden ticket. And let's be honest, console gaming's been shrinking. Less variety, more monetization, slower updates, feature creep. PC's where weird stuff is. Good stuff, risk, innovation, and absolute chaos. Steam Machine could be bridge. So, T-Pose, thanks for that. This could be hardware that wakes people up. Not for free accounts, not for ray tracing, for freedom. Absolute fire of a question, mate. Now, a big shout out to my mate, my pal, Arsonist with a spreadsheet, Pyro Friendly Arsonist 9195. He asked a banger. With Black Ops 7 going down drain, you think BF6 and Delta Force will be taking over? Mate, down drain? Black Ops 7 circling you, Ben, like it old toilet money. And look, I said from start, I had hope. They stripped clown skins. They gave us open playlists. They tried tone. But you lot screamed immersion, then ran back to bubblegum drip like toddlers tasting kale. So yeah, game's not just struggling, it's flopping loud. Now is it completely dead? No. But it's hemorrhaging engagement harder than a streamer with 6-hour chair stream. Numbers don't lie. Match queue times are climbing. Interest dropping, and content creators have already pivoted to either roasting or ignoring it. Not a good sign for a supposed premium tentpole. So, Battlefield 6, quietly still doing well. Not headline hype, not viral TikTok chaos, just solid. It's got boots on ground feel, committed core, and importantly, they've stopped trying to be caught with hovercrafts doing kickflips. It's Battlefield again. No magic bullets, no clown gear. Just guns, grit, and enough chaos to make every match feel like Wire documentary gone sideways. Long haul? Yeah, it's got legs. Then there's Delta Force. Now this one's weird. It's snuck in like a sleeper agent. Low marketing, barely any noise, but people are playing it. Not viral, not explosive, but it's scratching an itch COD forgot existed. Tactical, grounded, a little janky maybe, but jank with soul. It's got that early 2000s DNA, kind that says, yeah, this reload animation is slow. That's point. You either dig it or you don't, but enough people clearly do. So here's my bet. COD, it's lost trust. Again. And if content pipeline keeps stalling, Black Ops 7's not future, it's cautionary tale. Battlefield 6, steady shit, could end up tortoise that wins race, as long as EA don't panic and steer it into TikTok sponsorship. Delta Force, dark horse, but one to watch, especially if console players start jumping ship from Neon Freak Show that COD's become. Thanks for Fire Pyro, you bang on, thrones wobbling, and there's blood in water. Now we just need to see who's got stones to claim it. Fixer2616 asks, did you enjoy any new games that came out in 2025? If so, what's best and worst games this year? What games did I play this year? Hollow Knight Silksong, Doom Dark Ages, Ark Raiders, Dune Awakening, Fragpunk, Resident Evil Survival Unit, Battlefield 6, RedSec, Black Ops 7. 9 names, some bangers, some stinkers, 1 or 2 that felt like therapy with 8box. Best at year? Easy, Doom Dark Ages, no contest. id Software once again showed up like a drunk metal band crushing a chess tournament. All chainsaw, no mercy, lore deep enough to drown in, and gunplay so tight it makes FPS titles feel like Nerf gun roleplay. It's linear, sure, but it feels massive. Every level a set piece, every arena a blood-drenched ballet. Only franchise still adding to its legend without needing 400 cosmetics pack and an anime crossover. Doom still knows what it is, and it plays like it's proud of that fact. Worst? Oh boy. Controversial take? Maybe. But for me, 2 worst games this year were Ark Raiders and Dune Awakening. Now yeah, you're all ready, but Ark Raiders had a vision. Yeah, a vision so foggy it should have come with a guide dog. Cool combat, decent AI, gorgeous world. But moment to moment, tedious. Progression, shallow. Game loop, rinse, repeat, regret. It's like someone made a looter shooter in a boardroom on Red Bull. And Dune? Mate, that and hurt. Massive IP, rich lore, sandworm scale, and somehow they managed to make spiciest universe in sci-fi feel like watching beige dry paint flake in slow motion. It's open world sludge with a low paint job. Survival mechanics that feel like punishment, quests that look like bad dreams. If House Harkonnen had made a game, this would be it. Beautiful surface, pure pain inside. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. Wait, Scotty, don't you hate open world games? Correct. That's why I'm dreading booting up Elden Ring. But I made promise. I bought damn thing. And I will give it a go. I'll shut off QA brain, put analysts to bed, and just play it. That's what it takes now. To just play something, you have to turn off your brain. Because modern games are so obsessed with feature creep, content bloat, and endless systems, they forgot core. Is it fun? Is it tight? Does it respect your time? Doom says yeah. Dune and Ark say, buy our battle pass. So yeah, 2025's been a proper rollercoaster. 1 game made me feel alive, 2 made me question my choices, and 1 I ain't played yet might be death of me. Now, over to you lot. What were your best and worst game at year so far? Drop it in comments, and don't say Pal World. That's not a game, that's a social experiment. Right, this one's from Tony Carl Gatwood. Absolute banger. If you got to choose 1 game from past to get a remake, what would it be? Mine would be Need for Speed Underground 2. Right off bat, great shout. NFS Underground 2 had peak car culture. Customization so deep you could rebuild your Mazda from piston up. None of this rapper preset on it and call it yours bollocks. That game were identity on wheels. But it's twist. Me? I'm picking note. 0. None. Let it all rock. And before you start throwing controllers, hear me out. We're drowning in remakes. It's not just 1 or 2 gems getting polished up for new gen. It's a fucking flood. Nostalgia's gone from warm and fuzzy feeling to corporate business model. And worst part, it's working, because we keep asking for it. Think about it. AAA gaming in 2025 is 80% regurgitation. Bungie, rebooting Marathon. COD, anti-evolved since Bush left office. EA Sports, still reselling last year's football game with haircuts. Just Dance, add songs, ship it, repeat. Rockstar, GTA 6 finally coming after a decade of milking GTA 5. And even that looks like GTA V.5 with social media filters. You say remake, but what you're really asking for is familiarity. Safe bets, replayed joy. But here's the thing, that's not gaming, that's museum curation. And cost? Innovation dies. Risk dies. New IPs die. Developers don't get to dream up what's next, because publishers are too busy repolishing what's already sold. We've already seen what happens when this goes unchecked. Lazarus got remake barely 9 years after release. Resident Evil now lives in a perpetual cycle of reanimation. Silent Hill 2 remake looks like it were built by people who only read Wiki. What's next? Red Dead Redemption 2, rebooted but with arts. Look, I get it. Nostalgia it's hard. And yeah, if someone announces a full rebuild of Banjo-Kazooie, I'd be watching trailer with tears in my cornflakes. But after that, what then? We'd all load it up, realise we've played this game already, and start demanding DLC before credits roll. Remakes are comfort food. Nice for a bit, but if it's all you eat, you get sick, slow, lazy. So here's my answer, Tony. No remakes. Not because old games weren't brilliant, they were, but because future of gaming deserves more than dusty trophies in 4K. You want to honour it past? Don't remake it, build something that stands next to it. Take DNA, spirit, raw magic, and evolve it. Otherwise, we'll all spend next decade playing past on new hardware, wondering why future feels fucking stale. Cheers for the question, mate. Cracked a proper nerve. Ages444, me horror-obsessed friend. You ask, what's your favourite kind of horror? Analog? Psychological? Some creepy vibes? Mate, strap in. If we're talking overall horror, Crown goes to creature horror, hands down. And no, not your sparkle-dusted, tumbler-shipping teen romance vampires. I'm talking real monsters. Feral, hungry, inhuman. Not Edward Cullen licking his lip gloss in woods. That wasn't a vampire. That were a walking glitter tampon with a sad backstory. Give me Nosferatu. Give me 30 Days a Night. Give me something that rips. Right behind that, Eldritch horror. That deep, cosmic, what the fuck is that mess of unknowable anatomy and brain-melting madness? Lovecraftian, but with racism filed off. Horror with monster ain't just scary, it breaks your understanding of reality. Then comes body horror, and let's be honest, most people can't hack it. You show someone thing, they'll flinch. You show them Human Centipede, they'll vomit. I watched it and laughed. Not because I'm okay, but because I've seen worse on the internet. And let's be real, once you've seen late 2000s shock sites, no film can outgrow your memory. And let's not forget Terrifier. Art Clown is most iconic new horror villain in a decade. In fact, they're putting him in space next, with WWE's Rhea Ripley. Inject that chaos into my veins. I want kills, quips, and physics-defying gore. I want to watch some poor soul get dissected with a chainsaw while yelling, "Are you not entertained?" But that's film and telly. Games? That's different. In gaming, I lean psychological, all the way. I want dread. I want paranoia. I want to second guess every hallway and question every shadow. I want game to whisper, "You're being watched," without actually saying it. That's real juice. Yeah, I still love classics. Resident Evil, Silent Hill, all old dogs still have teeth. But it's indie horror that's carrying genre now. AAA studios are too busy making horror games with crafting systems and season passes. Indies, they go, "Here's a grainy screen and a cursed house. Good luck." That's where fear lives. And speaking of which, I hadn't played I'm on observation duty, but thanks to you, I checked out 8, downloaded demo, now beginning it a proper go. Looks right up my paranoid twitchy alley. So yeah, favourite horror type? Depends on medium. Movies and books, creature, cosmic, body horror filth. Games, psychological mind melt. Paranoia with a loading screen. And in every case, it's not budget that makes it scary, it's intention. It's way it creeps into your skull and lingers. Indie devs know that. Suits forgot. Thanks for killer question, Ages. Stay spooky. This last one's from Ages444. Man's been on fire today, and he asks, what will your big milestone for this channel be? Any major plans when you reach it? Here's honest answer. I already passed it. I started this channel to kill time. That's it. Little distraction. Bit of catharsis. Place to shout into the void about broken games and broken promises. What I didn't expect, you lot actually sticking around to hear it. 1,974 of you, as in almost 2,000 mad bastards who tune in every week to hear me scream at pixels and roast patch notes like they owe me money. That's real milestone. Not 10k, not 100k. Just fact that I get to do this and you lot give a shit. And yeah, I had health wobble last year, nearly packed it in, but I didn't. Because this space, this thing we've built, it matters. Even if suits ignore it. Even if algorithm buries it under TikTok drama and bland bollocks. I'll keep doing this as long as I can. Health willing, life willing, mental battery not flatlining. And no, I don't do this for sponsors, ad revenue or industry clout. YouTube's second, business is first. Family always a fourth aim. That's why you'll never see me fake a meltdown for clicks or push a crypto scam in middle of a rant about matchmaking. If I can't make a video, I'll tell you. If I'm tired, I skip it. That's how you stop burnout, by treating your audience like humans, not engagement stats. As for plans, here's plan. Keep torching bullshit, call out lies, mock nonsense, alt line. If a milestone comes, I'll acknowledge it. Maybe I'll throw something together. But don't expect twerk drops. Expect more fire, sharper rants, deeper dives, and probably 1 or 2 more AI voices having emotional breakdowns when I call out the rigged lobbies. And while we're at it, shout out to real legends keeping lights on it members section. James Lama, Silver Bullet 90, Asian Persuasion, Abapical, Firkinell, Scotty Seether, Mayhem. You're not just names on a list. Yet reason this engine keeps roaring. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Just me, a mic, and I'll rip mask off at industry until someone either listens or rage quits reality. Like, subscribe and all that bollocks. If I ever hit 1 million subs, it'll be in patch notes titled, "No an issue, angry bastard won't shut up." I'll see you next time, you magnificent.